Hi, good evening, Ed. Okay, and 4K, I'll get you logged in here while you make your comment. Go ahead and say good evening and let everyone know where you're located.
Well, good evening to the net. This is KS4KL, Ed in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Node 7900. For his antenna, can it be done? Certainly not sure how the pole will affect it, but certainly could be done. And a way to do it is with PVC pipe. I've done that holding my flag up. What I did, I have the size of the mast that's holding your 2 meter. Get a piece of PVC tee that is just the slightest bit larger, and then put set screws in it and lock it in place at the top and at the bottom, and run your wires in between. You can set maybe a 3-foot piece out at the top and the bottom, and then drill the outer end and run your wires through it to give you your where it will turn to the L. But that's the way to do it. How effective it'll be, I'm not 100% sure. I've never tried it. So, but that's a way that you could support it. KF4KL back to Ned.
Thanks and good evening, Ed. Anybody else want to jump in on Jason's question? N1ARN, got you logged in, Aaron. Why don't you go ahead and say good evening to everyone and voice your comments, please.
Okay, very good. Well, hello to them that's checked in, and this is N1ARN. I'm up here in Sheldon Springs, Vermont. ARN, ARN's the name, and Jason, if you got gutters on your house, you could always run insulated wire type antennas inside of them. We have people that do it up here. Matter of fact, I have one friend that actually he used his gutter as an antenna and said it worked just fine on 20 meters. So, but just a suggestion, I did that the same up here one time. I ran a Cobra Junior right up the side of a telephone pole. Just hung it right from the telephone pole. I got the bottom of the antenna itself about maybe 8 feet off the ground on the end lead, and I think them juniors stretch out about maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 feet, something like that. They're under 90 feet or no more than that. So, if you got a tree or whatever, try hanging it that way. And my YL's a ham, and she claims as long as she doesn't trip over anything from her car to the house, she's fine with it. So, maybe maybe your wife would be okay as long as she don't trip over it or hit her head on it. So, good luck, and one ARN.
Thanks, Aaron. And Jason, I apologize. I'm looking back at my notes, which I should have looked at before the net started. And I promised that you would be first up this week because we didn't get to your questions last week. So I'm glad you got right in there. My apologies.
That's the guy who was just talking.
Didn't get down here till a couple of minutes till 8 o'clock, and I didn't have time to. Should have looked, but like Ed said, it'll work, but how much degradation, if any, who knows? But good idea. Should work for you. All right, let's hear your second question. Maybe we can get some participation in that one. Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking is running in it with the keys and running the standoff. And it's just going to be a trial and error on that. But, I mean, there's a couple other ways you can, possibly run it up the side of the house and, to the one and only tree in the backyard or something like that. So, I mean, there's a couple different ways. And, like I said, I opened mouth in through the foot because, I told her I would kind of keep it to a minimum that I wouldn't have a giant antenna farm and, I would try to disguise it as much as possible. But my other thing is I'm going to have more than one antenna with him with it. But my other antenna that I'm getting is going to be in the front center of the yard. It is going to be a flagpole antenna. It's going to be a 0.5 flagpole antenna. So it's ground mounted vertical, but it's disguised as flagpole. And it's going to require ground radials. I've never done anything like that. And I was just curious. There's so many different things on the internet, you don't know what to go with. Everybody has their own opinions. But I just don't know the length I should be cutting my radials. I don't know if I should go with multiple different lengths or try. I plan on getting close to 3,000 feet of wire altogether. And, the gauge of the wire make a difference too. That would be my other question. So, again, it's a multi-part question. Does the wire gauge make a difference as a radial? And what would be ideal for a length is my second question. Should I go with multiple different lengths or try to keep them all the same length? And that'd be about it.
Comment from DU9 G8 IRC.
Yeah, go ahead, David. This is WB2JTQ.
DU9 G8 IRC. To the gentleman's question about the flagpole antenna in his front garden or his front drive, I have a 5-band hustler which requires radials. Now they come off the base of the antenna itself. They've got a special mounting plate on there for them. And in my case, there was 10 pairs, and they were run out opposite to each other. Now, I mentioned the 5-band hustler for a simple reason. In the instructions on that antenna actually give you the length of the radials required for each band, and the antenna has traps. I can't remember, 40 meters, 20 meters, 10, and so on, all the way up it. So, obviously, the radials are important. Now, what we did with it was what they suggest. You can lay them out in a straight length. I think one of them, or a pair of them, was something like 15 meters long. I can't remember. I know a pair of them were 10 meters long. And what we did, I stood it in the first time I put it up in the middle of my lawn, back lawn, when I was in the UK. And we got a sharp spade, and a friend of mine actually dug slots from the centre of the antenna base outwards. And because the garden was so small, we zigzagged them, and as long as they didn't actually come too close to each other, they worked. Each pair has to be opposite. Is a pair. One goes one way, one goes the other way. And the one thing you must always remember, when you bury them under the ground, of course, that's where you normally put them. The ends have to be sealed so the moisture can't get in. But the antenna worked very well. I brought it over here to the Philippines, did exactly the same thing in a slightly larger garden, and it seemed to work okay. And because we hadn't got enough room for straight elements, straight out, we zigzagged them. And they were the instructions of the instruction pamphlet that came with the Hustler 5-band antenna. So I hope that helps. From DU9 G8 IRC.
Yeah, thanks, David. Certainly, would you say that 0.5 antenna, certainly that, I'm sure they give you
what they want to see for ground radios, I would certainly think that would come in the instructions, Jason. Anybody else want to help Jason out? Any of the
10-4. You can clearly understand him. There's no car out here with a car alarm, and the white car seems to be parked legally.
K5, Whiskey Delta Bravo.
Good evening, K5DB, Whiskey Delta Bravo, WDB. Can't I write it and I can't read it. Good evening. Well, you got it. Say good evening to everyone. Tell everyone where you're located and we'll get you checked in.
Good evening, Dick, and the rest of the net. This is Bill in San Antonio, Texas. K5, Whiskey Delta Bravo, on my personal node, 3412, an IRLP node, a micronode. I have a 160-meter vertical, 46-foot long in the backyard. I have a very small lot, and I ran 4 radials. Quarter wave is minimum for a radio. You want a quarter wave, the minimum. The gauge, you don't want armature wire. I use typical electrical wire, or you can buy whatever cheap wire you can get. It can be insulated or non-insulated. And I ran mine in all kinds of different directions to get a quarter wave at 160 meters. The radio works fine. The antenna works great. It's not going to work as a full-size one, but it works great. I built the 4B TV or the 5B TV that the gentleman from the Philippines were talking about in a flagpole situation, and did no radials, and it still worked good. If you're in an area where you're limited, if you can run radials, try to make them quarter wave minimum, and as many as you can is the best, and if not, then whatever you can do. Mother Nature has a way of making things work in small spaces. This is Bill, K5WDB.
W4HKL was coming. I'm sorry, I keyed up and looked up and I saw somebody on All-Star talking, and all I heard was comments. So go ahead, your call sign, and say hello, and we'll get you logged in here, and go ahead with your comment.
Sorry about the double, Dick. This is Steve, W4HKL, Terryville, Tennessee, All-Star node 45. Oh gosh, 2256, something like that. Anyway, I would just recommend to the gentleman that's inquiring about the antenna to look up the following article. It's all over the internet. It's usually in PDF format, and it's called my top 5 backyard multiband wire HF antennas by L.B. Seebick, C-E-B-I-K, call sign W4RNL, silent key. And he goes into great detail on the theory as well as practical construction of several, 5, in fact, wire antennas that you can usually fit into most backyards, including in Radial, how the radials and stuff affected and things of that nature. Back to net control, W4HKL.
Good evening, Steve. W4HKL got you logged in on 42256. Pretty good. Anybody else like to make a comment for Jason on ground radio?
Checking AP202 mobile.
Yeah, good evening, Tom. Do you have a comment for Jason on his ground radio question?
No, not really. I only heard part of
that. I heard some about quarter wave, 160, and some grounding rods. I don't know really what they're talking about, but I mean I know what they're talking about, but I don't know what I don't know what the question was. But I'm just getting off work, turned the radio. I heard you in there, so I figured I'd jump in here, and I think it's your net there. It's something about check-ins or something. So I figured I'd just jump in and check in there. Back to the EB2 mobile.
Yeah, okay, Tom. Good to have you. We run for about 2 hours here on Tuesday night. We're taking stations with questions, and we're doing comments, and then we go down through the 10 call districts. But we'll get you logged in. Well, Jason, I kind of, pretty much agree with Steve. First vertical I had. It was a 1480Q or something like that, and it was mounted quite close to the house, so I couldn't equally get my ground radios running straight like David in the Philippines said. I had them running every which way, and it worked. Did it work as good as the picture showed it, how they should be laid out? Probably not, but nobody ever knew the difference. So get them in the ground and, number 12 wire, like Steve said, or whatever. I always, all of my ground radios, tower, everything else, I made a pretty good ground grid. I made it all out of, bare wire because I had access to it. So, well, I hope that helped, Jason. Let us know how you make out, and I'm sure it'll work just fine for you. We both antennas.
It definitely summed up, most of my question there with the length, with the quarter wave radials and that. And I plan on running the radials off the inverted L also, just as a counterpoint. So that definitely summed up my questions for tonight. And thanks again, and everybody have a very healthy and happy, prosperous new year coming up. WQESP, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I'm glad you got in at the top, and my apologies, as I had a big note right on my net stuff, and I never opened the folder up to see it until we'd already got started here. All right, anybody else with a question? Stations with a question only. This is WB2JP. Kill. Alpha, Charlie 9, Charlie Oscar, that's AC9CO, Tom and Oak Park. I have a question.
We're clear.
Good evening, Tom.